talked about demand. So just as a recap about demand, you all remember what demand looked like? You had demand, and you had price, and then quantity, and it was a downward sloping, call this a curve, it could be a straight line, it's fine. And demand, you know, is a function of price and quantity. Price and what kind of function? It's the inverse relation between price and quantity. That's demand. This week, today, we're going to be talking about supply. You've heard the expression supply and demand. Last week was demand, this week is supply. Supply is just basically the inverse of demand. It's if demand is how much you're willing to pay to get something, to buy something, demand is how much you have to be paid in order to sell something. Okay? Another way you can think about it is supply is the demand of someone looking to sell to you. That could be a little bit more philosophical. But we'll build it up the same way. Suppliers are people too. And just like people, they have preferences, they have values, and just like demanders, they have a scale of values. They rank their values. Rank of values. So they might have, this is their first rank, second rank, third rank, fourth rank. And once again, I'm using Roman numerals for ranks because it's first, second, third, fourth. Okay? And this is the quantity that they possess or they're willing to sell. Okay? To sell something, you have to possess it first. So they're willing to sell 1 unit, or 2 units, or 3 units, and for now we'll just say they have 4 total units that they can't sell. If you're trying to sell something, and you have 4 of them, is the first thing that you're going to sell, is that going to be the most valued thing that you will sell, or the least valued thing that you will sell? You're trying to sell something, you've got 4. You've got 4 things. You're trying to get rid of them. It's the first thing you're trying to get rid of. Is that going to be the most valuable or the least valuable? Yes. The least valuable. The first unit is going to be the least valuable. Your last unit available for sale, but the same token, is going to be your most valuable. I'll keep going up like this. And once again, can we draw a line through this graph? No, because we're saying these ranks, there's no such thing as a 1.5 rank. Does that make sense? So, I'll keep this so you guys see. So now let's move on from ranks to prices. Yes? Yes?
I don't understand why the first. Why would you try to sell your, if you're trying to get stuff, you want to make the most money and sell your most valuable?
You sell your least valuable good first. Because if you're trying to give stuff away, are you going to say you're giving away your toys, right? You have to give away your toys, your childhood toys. Are you going to give away your favorite childhood toy first, or are you going to try to keep it holding on? You never want to give away anything for less than it's worth, right? So whenever you're trying to sell something, it's the same thing. You try to give away or sell the least valuable thing first. Get rid of that first. Hold on to the most valuable thing later. Maybe someone will be ready to pay a higher price for it later. Any other questions? Yes?
Sorry, so what does the bottom axis represent?
That's quantity. Good question. So this is quantity. That's quantity. So in this example, I'm saying you have 4 things that you're trying to sell. 1, 2, 3, 4. You're selling the 1 unit, which is the lowest ranked unit, lowest valued unit. Get that out of the way first, and now. Any other questions? So now let's bring in prices. So, we got prices, we got quantities. Your lowest valued good, are you going to try to sell that at a very, very high price or at a lower price? Everybody out loud? Low price. And your last good, so we'll call this your 1, your 2, your 3, and your 4. And then your last good will be at a high price, and let's assume also you can give away intermediate between 1 and 2, it's 1.5, and also the prices are continuous, and we will draw a line on that. Is this clear so far? Okay. So, you got confusions? Questions? Yes?
If you have less quantity, would you sell it for a higher price?
If you have less quantity, but we're starting off, you have 4. At this point, you have 4 units.
So that's when you sold.
You're selling 1 unit out of your 4, 2 units out of your 4, 3 units out of your 4, 4 units out of your 4. Does that clarify? Yes.
If we're assuming all the units are the same thing, how are we considering one to be more valuable to you than the others?
Great question. Because when you get rid of 1 unit, you have fewer units left. So we talked about opportunity cost. That's the value of the thing that you're giving up. Right? There is a related concept called marginal cost. In economics, so you guys know in normal language, when something is marginal, it's your least important thing. It's something on the margins, not that important. In economics, it's a similar sort of idea. The marginal unit is the lowest valued unit. Your marginal cost is the lowest valued cost that you're willing to give away. Okay? So when you sell your first unit, you now have 3 units left. The opportunity cost of each unit goes up. You have fewer units. Going back to this one, if you sell 1 unit, you now don't have 4 units that you're ranking, you have 3 units that you're ranking. So each unit proportionally becomes more valuable. Please ask me questions. I can tell by your faces. You're confused. Yes?
Okay, but like, when I go to the grocery store and I'm buying apples, the first apple that I buy is the same price as like the 3rd or the 4th apple that I buy. Like, it's not.
Yeah, so at the grocery store, the grocer does not care. Their unit, buying 1 or 2 apples, is not important for the grocer. Marginal units are subjective. Remember? Marginal units are subjective. Opportunity costs are subjective. Each person, each business values them differently. Yes?
So could the unit in question to like consumer be different from the like supply?
Yes, because in this example, for the grocer, 1 apple is not important to them. They buy apples by not the ton, but by the hundreds of pounds. So 1 apple for them is not important. Does that make sense? They will sell apples individually, but when they're making their calculations, 1 apple is not important. Yes?
So you would have a demand curve with that piece.
That's exactly what it is. That's a supply curve. Yes. Yes?
So in this graph of rank of values and quantity, is the quantity like how many you have left, or like?
So initially, it's how many you have initially. If you got rid of one, then this will change. We'll get to that soon.
So it's the one then is.
It's 1 unit.
But
of
do you
the
have
supply.
1 unit?
Yes,
or?
you have 1 unit. So currently you have 4 units. You have 4 units, you're going to have 1 unit, you're going to have 2 units. You have 4. So 4 apples. The 1 apple you're going to use for your first most important apple, you're going to eat for yourself, that's for demand. The 4th apple you're going to give to, I don't know, the local stray dog. In this case, you've got 4 apples that you're trying to sell. You'll sell the first least important apple to whichever bum will come on the street. You'll keep your 4th apple to your regular who comes by every day and he wants an apple.
So then we don't consider each like point to be the number that you have at that moment.
That's right. It's not a moment to moment. This is 1 moment, 1 full moment, and if you sell 1, this is going to change, and we'll come back to that. Okay? So we'll come back to your question later. Any other questions so far? Yes?
So it's kind of curious about marginal cost and
Yes.
opportunity cost, because I keep reading they're basically the same thing.
Yes.
You just with me. So opportunity cost is like whatever you're giving up to do something else. Marginal cost, I thought, is the additional cost to what you're doing.
It's not addition. So it's not addition to the opportunity cost. It's the additional. Okay. So it's marginal cost is the additional unit or the additional thing that you have to give up, but it's the same thing as opportunity cost, because your opportunity cost is always the thing that you give up, and then your marginal cost is the extra thing that you're giving up when you do a new thing.
So the cost is producing, basically.
So at this moment in time, I have 2 tickets, my Drake ticket and my Billie Eilish ticket. If I go to see Drake, my opportunity cost is Billie Eilish. That's time 1. Time 2, my marginal cost of buying an additional Drake ticket or buying an additional Billie Eilish ticket is $10. So it's when you're going from one supply or one stock of something and you're increasing your stock. Opportunity cost, we're looking at just a trade-off. And then for marginal cost, it's you're changing your stock up or down. It's the same concept, just applied in different contexts. It's the same concept. Yes?
So that question is the opportunity cost is $10.
Yes.
But then they said the marginal cost is $10.
If I buy an additional ticket, it's $10. If I'm buying multiple Billie Eilish tickets, and the value of each Billie Eilish ticket to me is $10, then the next one I buy one at $10, the next one, the marginal cost could be $10.
So the marginal cost is like second opportunity cost.
Okay. Let's start from the beginning. So let me draw a graph or a table, sorry. So we've got quantities and prices. So you're buying your first Billie Eilish ticket. Let's say it costs $10. Your second Billie Eilish ticket also costs $10. Your third Billie Eilish ticket, there's a discount. It's going to cost $5. Okay? If you already have 2 tickets, what is the marginal cost of buying a third ticket? It's $5. What is also the opportunity cost of buying that third ticket? Also $5. You have 2 tickets, you're looking to buy a third, the marginal cost is $5. Yes.
Isn't the opportunity cost not buying $55? It has opportunity cost of buying $55.
So your opportunity cost is always when you're making an exchange, and then the exchange is money for tickets. So the thing that you give up, the highest value thing that you give up.
Okay.
Any other questions? This is really important. We'll be talking about this a lot during the semester. So yes.
Okay, now let's just say there was another ticket, but it wasn't on sale anymore. What would the opportunity and marginal cost be for those ones then?
What do you mean it's not on sale anymore?
Like, no, you said the Billie Eilish ticket is on sale for $5, but
Yeah.
now let's just say the sale ended and it's $10 again. Would that change?
Yeah, so opportunity cost, again, so even if, so you might think that if your budget, so say now you have a budget of $100 for your week, so now if you buy an additional Billie Eilish for $5 ticket, you could have used that $5 for buying, I don't know, a pound of apples. Right? Yes? It's the same price?
You said the opportunity cost and the marginal cost are both $5.
Yes.
So what's the difference?
It's the same. Opportunity cost is the same as marginal cost. It's just we use these words differently in different contexts. Opportunity cost is the same as marginal cost, we just use the words differently in different contexts. And you'll understand the differences between those contexts as the semester goes on. Yes?
Is it always the same?
Yes, always the same. Opportunity cost is the same thing as marginal cost, always. Okay? We'll be coming back to this concept a lot throughout the semester. I'll keep explaining it. It's in your books. But let's move on for now. So we've got your supply. Let's go back to the question earlier. So this was your rank of values. We'll go 1, 2, 3, and 4. Sorry, first set, third, fourth. And then you have 4 goods, right? 3, 4. Go 1, 2, 3. So you have 4 units. That's how you will value them. Okay, same graph from last time. But now you've been gifted a 5th unit. You've been gifted a 5th unit. How will this graph change? Anybody want to come up and try their hand at this? See hands? Any volunteers? Yes, come up. Yeah. So how will this change? So you have, you would have a 5 there, yeah. So how do those ranks with them look? Yeah. So with your 5th unit, would that be, okay. So it is, so that would be the last thing that you think about. Your most important. Would that be your most important? So your first unit is still down there, right? So what would happen to that one? Would that still remain as the 4th most important unit? Yeah. Let's try. Anybody else want to try? Anybody else want to try?
Can I ask a question first?
Yes.
If you only, say you took away one of your units, would you cut off the graph from the bottom or the top?
You would have 3 units, right?
Yes.
So to get to 3, do you cut off 1 or do you cut off 4?
And you have one less unit.
You would cut off, counting to 3, you go 1, 2, 3, not 2, 3, 4, right?
So you cut off from the bottom.
Cut off the 4.
So if you had one, I think I know, but I'm
Okay,
not sure.
come up. That's your 5th would be? Yes. So where would your first one go?
I don't know.
So your 5th unit would be now your new number 1. So let me try again with the better drawing. Starting off, so imagine this is there still, we still have 4 units. So the first unit would go up to here, the 4th. Your second unit goes up to here. Your third most important. The third unit you would have left would be your second most important. And then the 4th unit you would have less would be your most important. So now we add a 5th unit. And something's going to be have to rank 5th. Now, who wants to try? Yes, sir. So everything would move down by 1 rank. So this would be your new first unit, your new second unit, your new third unit, your new 4th unit, and your new 5th unit. Yes. Quiet, guys, please.
What happens if like the fifth is not registered? You don't have like doesn't it depend on what we're
So the idea is all the units are ranked equally. So you get all the units are homogeneous, right? So it's the same thing. So you get an extra 1. Because you get an extra 1, now you can do an extra thing with it.
So like the example you gave, like the child place, what that doesn't apply to this.
The what, sir?
Like when you were talking over there, you were saying like the last thing we want to give away because like we have most value in it. That doesn't apply to this.
So it would. So let's work with the backwards situation where we're cutting off. We lose a unit. So we got our ranks and our quantity. So once again, we start with 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3, 4. Here. Here. So now we lose 1 unit. So this goes out. Right? Previously, everything shifted down 1 in importance. Now everything has to shift up 1 in importance. Right? So now this becomes your 3rd ranked good. Your second becomes your 2nd ranked good, and your 3rd unit becomes your 1st ranked good. Does that clarify things? Any other questions? Yes.
How come the first rank just wouldn't move down and become the same value as the second rank? Why do they have to move up?
Because one's taken away, when you take away 1 unit, you're taking away your, I'm just keeping the numbers the same, right? So order of the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4. You're taking away 1. Your last unit is now your 3rd unit. Your last unit now becomes your most important unit. So it goes from being your second most to your first most.
Okay, but that doesn't actually represent like an increase in value of the supply.
It increases because you previously had 4 units, now you have 3. Now your third thing that you have to give away, your last unit, is the most important one. Okay? Let's apply this now to prices. So you got your prices and quantities. Initially, you look like this, right? Your supply curve. We'll call this supply 1. If your supply curve is now, you have fewer units, what's going to happen to your supply curve? You have fewer units, so every remaining unit becomes more precious, becomes more valuable. Your supply curve is going to move up. So let me be clear. So that the idea here is that this price, you'll sell this many units, and at this price, you'll sell this many units. Now if you have fewer units to sell, your supply curve will move up. Oh. Which means at this price, you'll sell fewer units. If this was 4, this is now 3. If this was $10, previously you would sell 4 units at $10. Now you will sell only 3 units at $10. You only have 3. Questions? Yes? Yeah. So the question was, is there a case when your supply curve would steepen or get lower? To answer that question, and let me just, for the sake of clarity, this goes up and down, right? So this could be if this was your original supply curve and you got an extra unit, then it would shift downwards. Does that make sense? For the same reason? If you got an extra unit, it would shift out. If you got a fewer unit, it would shift in. Does that make sense? Okay. So now the question is, would it steepen? So we've got we'll try this again. So imagine you're now in a situation where you are a seller and there are other people selling the same thing. Okay? This is your supply curve of you, price and quantity, and it will look like this. So it's down here, you'll sell 1 unit at $1, and up here, you'll sell 5 units at $10, right? I come along, and I'm selling the same thing, and it's the same prices, but I'm selling more. So I'm selling 2 units at $1, and I'll sell 10 units at $10. It's not to scale. To get, if you and I were the only people in the whole market, we can now draw a market supply curve, which is just the addition of you and me. And that would look like this. Price, quantity. At $1, we'll sell how many? 1 plus 2 is 3. 1, 2, 3. And then at $10, we'll sell 10 plus 5 is 15. Go all the way down here. For 15. And that's up there. $10. And that's what our market supply curve will look like. Okay? Now, in this market supply curve, if one of us drops out, then not only will it shift out, it will shift in, sorry. If one supply drops out, not only will it shift in, it might also change its angle. It might also change its slope. Yes?
Why do we assume that it's an addition? Like, why is it not reflective? Well, if you're selling one unit at $1, if someone wanted more, they'd just not choose you. They'd buy it for 2 units at $1.
That's a good question. In this, just for simplification, we're assuming that not only are the goods homogeneous, that buyers are indifferent between the different suppliers. You don't care whether buyers don't care whether you're buying from you or me. They're just looking for the best price. Yes?
I'm sorry, so why is this like the sum graph of the two starting at 2.5?
2.5.
That's
Oh, no, so that's supposed to be 2. Alright, sorry. I only did 1 semester of art school. Yes. Oh, sorry, is it 2 or should we? Yes.
That one that's steeper, isn't that just that the first graph?
Which should? So this is the sum of 2 graphs.
Yeah, sorry, the U graph. Is it the V graph or just the U graph?
No, this is totally different. This is how much I'm selling alone. This is how much you're selling alone. I'm selling more at the same price.
So the graph is supposed to be steeper.
It's supposed to be less steep because I'm selling more units. So I drew it bad. I'm sorry. I only did 1 semester of art school. So just read on this. This is 2. That's 5. That's 10, right? So this is 1. 10. So you would be. Here's the U.
Sorry.
Yes. Sorry, quiet please. You're just adding up all the numbers. So it'll be, yeah, it generally gets steeper. So the question was, does the sum graph, does the total supply graph, does it get steeper? And the answer is yes. As more entrants come in, it gets steeper and steeper. So let's talk about more reasons about the shape that determine the shape of the supply curve. So we already said, we call these determinants. Determinants of supply. So the first one is number of sellers. What else might cause, so you should see from this graph that what changes the angle is how many people are willing to sell at given prices. So other than the number of sellers, what else would cause people to sell more at given prices? Yes?
If you're seeing a decrease in the product in the foreseeable future,
If you see it,
if you're expecting a decrease,
you expect a decrease in sales in the future, you'll try to sell more today. Excellent. Expectations. Right? Yes?
Sorry, I just have a question about the graph.
Go ahead,
You
please.
said it's getting steeper.
Yes.
If you go and do like the slope, like your V graph is like right around 0.9/80.
Yeah.
You go through your market supply one, you're looking at 0.9/12. So that's less steep.
Sorry, what was the second one?
0.9/12 is less steep.
0.9/12.
If you're doing price over, if you're doing 30 and 50 points.
Yes.
You're actually trying to calculate. the
Oh,
slope.
sure.
Yeah.
So the slope here, we got 9/12. sorry, 14. Oh, good point. 9 over 12 is 3 over 4. Right? So 3 over 4 is still 9 over 4. And this is going to be 9 over 8. Right? Less steep. Okay, so we'll talk about the slopes in a second. Number of sellers, your expectations. Anything else can affect supply? Yes. The price. So when we're drawing supply and demand curves, we're taking the price as given.
Oh, well, I was just
Okay.
thinking like if it's cheaper than people thought
If we expect prices to come down in the future, then that will it'll be like this one. If we expect prices to come down in the future, we'll try to sell more than we would have in the present. Okay? Saw a hand? Yes. Substitutes. Excellent. So substitutes. The substitutes not only for, we talked about demand curve last week. As a consumer, you have substitutes. What are you substituting here as a supplier? What are you substituting as a supplier? Yes. Raw materials or inputs, right? So that relates to technology, right? As technology changes, your inputs, your cost for production will change. And so you will produce different quantities for sale depending on the technology. So let me draw it like this. So this is the supply and demand, the supply curve for land in the year 1500. Okay? Land in the year 1500, the supply, it's going to be like this. More or less, right? Because you can build a one-bedroom house, can't build up very well. So not even 1500, let's say the year 100. We don't have the technology to build up. But these days, we now have 100-story buildings. So not only does the supply shift, but it also flattens out. This was old. This is I'll tell you why. Calculating the slope here is a little tricky. And that's because of elasticity. Right? Here we go again. Elasticity. So elasticity is the same for supply as it is for demand. It's the percent change in quantity supplied over the percent change in price. Someone asked me last week about which one of these is the independent or dependent variable. In your science classes, when you usually draw y and x, is y your independent or dependent variable? Y is the dependent variable. In economics, for mysterious reasons, the price is actually the opposite. It's the independent. We're interested about quantity. Okay? So we draw, so this graph is actually, sort of flipped. But this is just how we draw things in economics. And a regular slope is not the same thing as elasticity, right? Regular slope would just be change in quantity over change in price. In this case, change in y over change in x. Here's a percent change, right? So it's not exactly correct to call this the elasticity of the slope. Although if you take the extreme points, it becomes sort of like the slope, like it changes across along the curve. Let's talk about the elasticity again. If the only way you could buy apples was whatever the farmers around Guelph could supply during the year, what would your supply curve look like? It would probably be very straight and very small down there, right? This is Guelph. But if now you can buy apples from New Zealand and other places in the world, your supply curve, if your demand was like this, the supply curve is out and flatter. This is world. Supply curve that's flatter is because you have so much more quantities available for sale that an individual supplier, worldwide supplier, is not going to have a large percent effect on the world supply. Okay? So just as the takeaway for this class, supply curve shifts or slopes upwards. If you have fewer units, it shifts in. If you have more units, it shifts out. And as the supply and technology gets better over time, it'll get flatter. We're out of time, so come up.